c'est superbe.
In the first leg of the European Cup Winners' Cup, a 1-1 draw has set the stage for a fantastic feast of football. Arsenal versus Paris Saint-Germain at Highbury. Can Arsenal make their first European final in 15 years?
Yes.
The European Match Live, tomorrow at 7:25.
The headlines from ITN follow in just a moment. Then all the big new video releases are on The Little Picture Show.
Your chance to put top sporting personalities in the hot seat. Lively discussion with the people making the sporting headlines. Sporting Question, next Monday at 10:40 on Carlton.
I can say with authority, the number for Talking Pages is the same all over Britain.
Call Talking Pages on 0345 600 900.
When it's time to service your Rover, you'll find only Rover dealers have technicians specially qualified to work on all Rovers. Only Rover dealers have specialized Rover servicing technology and menu pricing, so there are never any hidden costs. And only Rover dealers can give you a genuine Rover service history, all of which is well worth remembering.
We know you're out there, boy! Come and get me!
Why, he could be anywhere, Sheriff.
Flush him out. Kellogg's Crunchy Nut Cornflakes encrusted with honey, nuts and brown sugar.
I'm coming down.
And I'm coming down too.
Kellogg's Crunchy Nut Cornflakes. The trouble is they taste too good.
Now at your Vision Express store, get 2 complete pairs of glasses for the price of 1.
Vision Express made 2 pairs of bifocals for me within the hour.
That's a good deal, 2 for 1.
I got 2 pairs of glasses, 1 pair of which is sunglasses from Vision Express in little over an hour.
These are bifocals, they've got a varied tint, and I got them within the hour at Vision Express. Spectacular.
2 complete pairs of glasses for the price of 1. Now at Vision Express.
Funny looking soap.
Not as funny as you. Anyway, it's not soap. It's Biactol. Helps keep my spots under control.
But you're not spotty.
That's because I use Biactol every day.
But why if you're not spotty?
Because I don't want them back.
Oh, why?
Look, bacteria in the skin cause spots. Biactol kills more bacteria than ordinary soap. In fact, it's twice as effective. Looking good. So could you.
Daily washing with Biactol beats soap at beating spots.
I don't suppose I can change my mind, huh?
No, but you can change your burger to Burger King a burger.
Now change to a flame grilled bacon double chili burger at Burger King for only $1.29.
You got it!
Detective Tom Hardy is on the trail of a killer. Now, he's got a new partner and a river full of dead bodies. They should have never put him in the water if they didn't want him to make waves.
How many men upstairs? Let me rephrase that.
Bruce Willis, Striking Distance.
In Network First, war against the mafia. A city controlled by one man.
Paul Castellano was the godfather.
His business, drugs, pornography, and murder.
It had to be the case they were making tens of millions of dollars every year.
Until an FBI investigation.
They were murdering 3-4 people a week.
It was with great satisfaction that we brought them down.
Tomorrow at 10:40.
Hope you've had a good weekend. Welcome to Monday's Nighttime. Starting in just a moment with a roundup of the latest video releases on The Little Picture Show, including interviews with Sybil Shepherd and Miranda Richardson. There's drama at 1:40 in the final episode of Shannon Steele. And you could kid yourself that summer's here as the Night Bites team concentrate on ice cream. There's motorsport on Sport AM, and our movie at 3:40 takes a look at life with Blondie. Chaos guaranteed. First, the news.
A French charity says Serbian soldiers are holding 11 relief workers on charges of trying to smuggle ammunition into Sarajevo. The 11, all French, were seized as they drove an aid convoy into the city. It comes as the United Nations sent in a second wave of NATO jets to punish the Bosnian Serbs who continued to shell the Muslim town of Gorazda. The move infuriated the Russian President Boris Yeltsin, who telephoned President Clinton to complain personally that he hadn't been consulted. But more attacks are on the cards.
I think they now understand the firm resolve of the United Nations, backed up by NATO, to take action when they threaten United Nations personnel.
The evacuation of Europeans from Rwanda has been continuing, with Italy sending 3 transport planes to join the effort, coordinated by American, French and Belgian troops. Most of the Britons are now out. But disturbing pictures of the tribal killings show there has been no let-up in the orgy of violence which has claimed as many as 20,000 lives. Soccer news. Blackburn Rovers have now closed the gap with Manchester United at the top of the Carling Premiership. They're level on points but have played 1 game more. Blackburn beat Aston Villa last night. 1 goal was enough to do it, scored, of course, by Alan Shearer, his 33rd of the season. That's it. More news later.
Well, some fine entertainment ahead, starting right now with The Little Picture Show.
Tonight on The Little Picture Show, what's love got to do with it? The hectic life of Tina Turner. Miranda Richardson joins the Bloomsbury set in Tom and Viv, and Sybil Shepherd does a spot of moonlighting. Hello. Well, celebrity biopics may not be one of cinema's most intellectually challenging of genres, but it is a fantastic excuse for any number of celebs to go on the ego trip of their lives. Worshipfully adapted for the big screen from Tina Turner's autobiography comes What's Love Got to Do with It? Putting her unhappy childhood behind her, the naive Anna Mae Bullock heads for St. Louis, where she falls for the charms of Ike Turner, a great performance from Lawrence Fishburne. In the twinkling of an eye, she's married with kids and on the road, clawing her way up the ladder of fame.
It's all happening too fast, you know? The baby and the road and the whole thing. I just need a rest.
All right, now, but look now. You got to understand, if we don't get out on that stage tonight, we don't get paid. Yeah? And we don't get paid, we don't eat.
About me.
What about the band? Well, you talking about the baby and the road and it's all happening too fast. Damn, you got more excuses than a nigga going to jail. You got too many excuses, woman. And this here is about business right here. That marquee out there say Ike and Tina Turner.
But a rock and roll lifestyle ain't easy, and as Tina Turner's career starts to blossom, the turbulent Ike turns to drugs and wife-beating, a combination of factors which will ruin the next decade and a half of her life. And this is what the bulk of the film is about.
Come on now, I'm asking you nice.
And I'm saying no nice.
You know
Ike,
you
come
want
on.
some of this cake. Come on, eat some cake. Eat some cake, yeah. Oh, so you done lost your...
Leave her alone, Ike.
Sonny! Huh? Come on! Come on! Get up! Go! Come on! Get up! Not one!
I'm out of here. You ain't got to hit me but once. Jackie, it's all right.
Beaten, abused and humiliated, Tina Turner cannot find it within herself to turn her back on Ike and the children. But she does eventually find solace in Buddhism, which gives her the inner strength to continue the fight.
Please instruct your client to remove his sunglasses. This is a courtroom.
Oh, you ain't got to instruct me to do nothing.
Your Honor, in order to expedite this matter, my client would like to make an oral motion amending her petition for divorce, revoking any financial claims.
I want you to be very sure about this. It means you're going to walk out of here with absolutely nothing.
Except my name. I'll give up all that other stuff, but only if I get to keep my name. I worked too hard for it.
Alongside the fabulous performance from relative newcomer Angela Bassett, who was amazingly convincing as our Tina, the part of the film I enjoyed most was her display of the changing fashions from the early 60s through to the late 70s, which was amusing and alarmingly accurate. Call me superficial. And in our first competition tonight, we've got copies of What's Love Got to Do With It, soundtracks and books to give away. If you can tell me which Mad Max movie Tina Turner appeared in. Was it A, Mad Max, B, Mad Max 2, or C, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome? Phone in on 0891 66 5566 for the Queen of Rock. In last week's competitions, Bruce Lee starred in the Green Hornet TV series, so these winners get copies of Dragon. And Peter Weir held his picnic at Hanging Rock, so these winners get the Widow's Peak picnic hampers. Wow, what an amazing and totally outlandish concept. Kim Basinger as Karen McCoy, a ridiculously glamorous ex-con who's trying to go straight. This isn't helped by her ex-husband, who has explained away Mum's 6-year spell in jail by telling their son Patrick she was dead, making it nigh on impossible for her to re-enter his life.
You let a woman who's living in the house I paid for talk you into telling my son I'm dead?
Look, I really think you're overreacting to this. I mean, what did you expect me to do? Tell a 3-year-old kid that his mom's doing 10 years for robbing banks?
No, but I thought we agreed you'd tell him that we split up and I moved. We agreed.
Look, now, I have to go. Hey, Patrick, I'll be right out, son. This is no friend of your mother's.
Unfortunately, keeping on the right side of the law isn't easy when your only qualification is bank robbing, and a girl does have to earn a living after all. But when her son gets kidnapped by the evil master crook Terence Stamp, she finds herself being blackmailed back into a life of crime. And with her new friend Val Kilmer in tow, she hatches a ridiculous but supposedly ingenious plan to rob the local bank.
I'm in 40. We ought to be out of here.
Just a minute. Blue 12.
We're already done that one.
Just do it. This time I go first. And now. Relock.
Let's go.
Without the presence of Val Kilmer, Kim's Charlie's Angels-style acting and hairdo, along with the irritating atmospheric soundtrack, would have driven me to distraction. If you find the concept of a mini-skirted Basinger holding her own in the criminal underworld fascinating, you might well enjoy the movie. Otherwise, you're unlikely to be engaged by this formulaic and subtly misogynistic adventure. And now...
The Big Picture.
The wonderful Miranda Richardson returns to our screens as Viv Elliott, first wife of the Nobel Prize-winning poet T.S. Eliot, and some say the inspiration for much of his early work. Unfortunately, Tom and Viv's marriage was doomed from the start. He was an upwardly mobile American at Oxford, keen to be accepted by British society, and she was a member of that society who, amongst other things, saw him as a means of escape. Their problems were further compounded by Vivian's mental state. She was an acute sufferer of premenstrual syndrome before it became an accepted medical condition, so she spent her life taking a lethal combination of prescribed drugs for a condition doctors described as moral insanity.
Tom may answer. Yes. Come on, for the cleverest man in England.
Come on.
49.
What was that?
49.
Correct. I declare Tom Elliot the cleverest man in England.
Ah, the benefits of an American education.
Why are you glaring at me?
How dare you look at me like that?
What do you think of the way that Elliot treated her? I mean, do you think that he mistreated her, or that he tried as hard as he could? Or, I mean, Edith Sitwell described him as reckless, that he had this sort of reckless and uncaring element. Do you think that was true of him?
I think maybe initially they were very well matched. And Peter Ackroyd is quoted as saying they misunderstood each other's characters, and each saw escape in a different way. She from the sort of terrible euphemisms and hypocrisy of her upbringing in what was forever England, and he from his rather sort of nebulous past. I mean, she saw him as exotic and he saw her as exotic, but unfortunately, when it got down to the reality of everyday life, they couldn't actually live together. It was kind of, head, mind, a mind marriage, but not really anything else.
Can't you see what they're doing to you? They want to bury you. They want to drag you down.
I have no idea who you are talking about.
How can you work when you are locked in some dungeon of a bank all day?
I shall work at the bank in the day and write at night. Nothing could be more straightforward.
But what can I do? What use can I be if you're away all day? How can I help?
You do help. All the time. With everything.
Do you think if she'd been properly diagnosed, because, I mean, really, that was all it was an extreme case of PMT, was it not? So do you think if she'd been properly diagnosed, the marriage would have survived, or do you think you agree with what other people have said, which is that it was sort of doomed and they were mismatched from the start?
Well, she would have been a different personality, really. The drugs that she was on were personality altering. I have to say that. So. You get the best and the worst of Vivi in the film, and the times when she's apparently most stable. She's also very lovable. She's very giving. She's very full of imagination. It's just when it goes to an extreme, it's very exciting. It's like watching a depressive. Even they're on a high, it's the most wonderful thing in the world, or it can be. And when they're on a low, you don't want to be near it.
Hello, Vivian. No, you've made a mistake. You're confusing me with that other woman who is so like me. She's always getting me into terrible trouble. How absurd. And if you don't go away this minute... Don't be silly, you are Vivian Elliott. I am not Vivian Elliott. I never have been. Is that clear?
Yes, it is.
It's
perfectly,
yes, absolutely.
perfectly clear.
Yes, a huge mistake, of course.
You're not Vivian Elliott.
And simply has to fight tooth and nail to get a cab at this time of day.
How instrumental do you think that she was in the creation, let's say, of the wasteland, and also as his muse? Which I think she described herself as, didn't she?
Well, yes, nobody else is going to, I mean, the way I'm answering that is that I'm sure he would have written very different work if he hadn't met Vivi. How easy that was, to be around is another matter. I think they were equals. I think it was Clash of the Titans there, really.
Why do you take them so seriously? I mean, this whole way of going on is ridiculous.
Stop it! Stop
Be
the
over
play
by
acting.
the end of the war, and good riddance.
If you're overawed by their company, then you shouldn't have come. It isn't good for your nerves.
They were showing off, and you were showing off. You wanted to win. I know you did.
Not by cheating.
No, I know. You wanted to be honestly, truly, genuinely superior, as only an American who knows nothing about anything can be.
After the Second World War, cinema was dominated with propaganda movies featuring the heroic Allies and the evil Hun. Vietnam was to change the face of war movies forever, prompting a slew of anti-war statements dealing with the more introspective nature of war. However, even those liberal movies only represented the American point of view, with the Viet Cong still the modern-day equivalent of the evil Hun. This is starting to change with movies like Heaven and Earth taking a look from the Vietnamese side, and now Stalingrad, the story of the battle in which over 1 million German soldiers died. The film follows the fortunes of 4 soldiers, Rollo, an oafish fatalist, his humanitarian pal Fritz, the naive Gigi, and their aristocratic group leader, Lieutenant Hans. We're introduced to the characters on the idyllic coast of Italy as they relax before being drafted to the bleak and deadlocked front line in Russia. Here they get their first taste of blood and have to face the harsh realities of warfare. Stalingrad is a bloody and shocking view of the emotional trauma of life on the front line. The futility of war is graphically brought home by director Joseph Wilsmer with 4 superb leading actors. This is an engaging anti-battle cry from a nation so often painted as the faceless aggressor. Emerging with almost a macabre sense of timing comes White Angel, the latest celluloid suburban serial killer. The genial Peter Firth plays the middle-aged murderer, Leslie Steckler, a perfectly ordinary dentist who takes a room in crime novelist Ellen Carter's cosy home. Naturally, this turns into everyone's worst nightmare when we discover that there's more than one killer in the house, a fact which he intends to use to his advantage. Realizing that his reign of terror will eventually come to an end, he's determined to make sure his story will go down in history, and he's chosen Ellen Carter as his mouthpiece.
I know this sounds insane, but me telling you all of this and you writing the book, it just makes me feel so good.
I can say no more. Suffice to say, the film has an extraordinarily bitter twist. And sitting here beside me is the purveyor of these murderous machinations, White Angel's producer and co-writer, Genevieve Jolliffe. Hello, Genevieve.
Hello.
I wondered, first of all, if you think of it as a sort of an unfortunate coincidence or just an indication of the kind of realistic act